Hey, what's up, guys? So we're gonna do a quick little touch up here on my Tuckmar. This is a 5/8 razor, and I don't know what edge this has on it. After stropping with Chromox, it's still tuggy a little bit, so it's time to touch it back up. When I touch blades back up after I know that the bevel angle is completely set, I'll start with the 8K. This is my 8K Shapton Pro. I just finished lapping it, so it's a little bit wet there. But yeah, 8K Shapton Pro. It's the K0710. It's the Melon Super. So that's where I start, and then from the 8K, I go to either my natural or my synthetic finishers. So for my lapping plate, it's a very well worn Atoma 400. Like I said, I just finished lapping this, so I know it's 100% flat. But yeah, that's what I use to lap everything. Naturals, synthetics, everything. Alright, so what we'll do is just have a little spray bottle. We'll get our stone wet. And we'll just start honing. So I may need to very light touch at first. I want to see if anything has changed between when I set the bevel and now. I want to see if I get any rough feeling. It's any off feeling that may pop up. I'm not getting anything, so everything feels pretty good. So I think we're okay. And I do a variation of basically, slanted push strokes. I also do X strokes. There's really no rhyme or reason to what I do and when I do it. I just kind of, whatever seems to be working at that moment. I don't know if you can tell or not, but the slurry, it's actually starting to build here, and it's actually starting to turn a little gray. And that gray is due to the metal coming off of the razor here. Now, when I first started, you can see the water here. I don't know how well the camera is going to pick it up, but there's water on this. And when I first started honing, it was basically just pushing the water in front of the edge. So as I'm pushing, the water is kind of just floating in front of the edge. Now, that creates a squeegee action, so you know that the bevel is set. Typically, that's what that means. Not always, but typically. But what you really want to see is the water start to come up on top of the bevel, roll on top of the bevel. So that way, you're getting a good undercut. You know that the tip of the edge, the very, very convex part of the edge, is so fine and so minute and so close in contact with the stone that the water is rolling up on top. And that's what you want. And that's what I'm starting to get. I know I'm blocking the camera. Just give me a second here. I'm feeling at the toe to see if there's anything that I'm missing. Now, I'm not putting very much pressure. I'm not putting very much pressure at all with this hand, with my left hand. But with my right hand, I am pushing down. It's very important to keep the spine and the edge of the blade always in contact with the stone. If you lift up the spine, you're going to cut into the stone and completely kill your edge. And if you pick the spine up, you're not going to damage the edge, but you're also not going to do anything that's important. So you want to make sure that both are in contact at all times. And again, I'm putting very minute pressure here, just getting a sense of what the blade's doing on the stone. But in this hand, I am actually torquing that blade down. And you can see the undercut there. At least I can. I'm not sure how good the camera's picking that up. I'm sorry about that. I'll have to figure out a different way to record these, but we're definitely getting some material cut off here of the edge and the spine. I'm doing very minute rolling strokes. So I don't know if you can, I don't know if the camera even picks it up. I always, when I first started honing, I'm going to add a little bit of water, by the way. This brand doesn't sponsor me or anything. This is what we used for the dogs way back when. And I just filled it with water because it was empty. And yeah. But I know when I first started watching guys hone, I would always say, like, you know, they're saying they're doing rolling strokes, but I'm not really seeing anything. I'm not seeing them lift the blade or anything. It's very minute. It's not something that you'll really catch on to until you actually have a blade and stone in front of you and you can actually do it yourself. At first, I would really accentuate it and do it a lot more than I needed to. Like, I would do something crazy like this, and then as I'm getting to the midway, I'm flat. And then as I'm getting to the end, I kind of like pick up the heel. That really dulls your edges, you know. It'll kind of roll them out. You have to be careful when you're doing a rolling stroke. You know, and it doesn't take too long to get the hang of it, but you got to be real gentle, real careful, and it's just a very slow motion, you know. There's guys that could whip this thing back and forth on here like nothing doing a rolling stroke. That's not me. I can't do that. I'm not that good. So I just go kind of slow at my own pace. You know, there's some guys that say when you start to see bubbles like this, you know, that means you're finishing on that specific grit or that specific stone. To me, that doesn't mean much. You know, it's just, some people, you know, it means different things, I guess. But to me, it doesn't really mean too much. So you can see, I'll show you. If the camera's picking it up, you can see that the water and the swarf are kind of coming all the way up on the edge, about a quarter inch or so on top of the edge. You know, from the edge up onto the blade. So, and that's on both sides. Actually, this side's a little bit more prominent. So when I'm going away, it's actually coming up a bit more. So I need to work on this side a bit more. But again, that's also subjective. You know, some guys look at that and they say, well, that's not really always the case. And I would agree, that's not always the case. But I use it as a measuring tool amongst other measuring tools. And at the end of the day, what matters is when I put this to my face, is it cutting well, number one, and number two, is it smooth? And if both of those answers are yes, it's cutting well, yes, it's smooth, we have a winning edge, regardless of what steps I took to get there. So, or what tools I used, or any of that. All right, so we're back to our rolling strokes. I'm kind of doing like a rolling /X stroke here. It's not a very pronounced X, I would agree, but it's an X stroke nonetheless. We're gonna add a little bit more water. We're ending our 8K phase here, so I'm gonna kind of knock off quite a bit of that swarf there and just kind of keep honing just on water. Thought I felt something there, but do I? No. Nope. Okay. And sometimes you just gotta check, you know? Sometimes you just want to make sure that nothing's gone wonky, you know? I'm not a professional at this by any means, but I can get my blades and guys that buy blades from me, I can get them very sharp. I can get them very smooth as well. You'll see me using in this the next stone I'm going to use. It's going to actually be a J-Nat. It's going to be my Shobudani. And I'm going to use my Tomo Nagura with that. And I'll kind of explain all that when I get to that point. Oh, let me tell you something on 8Ks. So when I first got into this straight shaving thing, I didn't want to hold my own stuff because you have to get stones and then you have to know what you're doing, etc., etc. But after a while, the bug bit, and I went ahead and pulled the trigger on some stones. And if you read forums from the older guys, and not only the older guys, but some of the newer guys that listen to the older guys will also say the same thing. You know, you can go with a 1K for a bevel set, then you can get the Norton combo stone and then finish on whatever you choose. And I listened to that for a while, and for the most part, I would say that's probably accurate. But everyone back in those days, as if that was so long ago, or it was only like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, you know, those guys were like, really, you should be able to shave off of the Norton 8K edge. Well, I tried that a handful of times, and that's never worked for me. I'm able to shave off of this edge, no problem. Off of, you know, an edge off of this stone. I could shave with this what I've done off of this stone without going further, and I would get an okay shave. I would get baby bottom smooth, but it wouldn't be the smoothest as far as the comfortability, you know, of the razor on my face. I like smooth. I don't like to finish a shave, throw on aftershave, and jump up and down because it's not feeling good on my face. Are we going to have bad shaves? Yeah, of course. We're going to have bad shaves. But I want most of my shaves. I want to give my edge such a good fighting chance that the vast majority of the time, I'm getting excellent shaves. And so with that said, if you're a new guy starting out, I wouldn't recommend getting this. This is the Norton 4K. 4K is on the white side, 8K is on the yellow side here. This is the box it comes in. Is it a good stone? Yeah, it's a good stone. It's a good stone. And for the price, it's kind of hard to beat. And I know I'm kind of undercutting my own argument here, but hear me out. You could get a better 8K. And first off, that 4 and 8K over there, that Norton 4 and 8K, that's not a true 4 and 8K. The 4K side is more like a 3, and the 8K side is more like a 5. And that's just a fact. You can go and look at the GIS rating that Norton puts out on their own site. And the microns that they say is in that 8K are equivalent to 5K. The microns they say is in that 4K are equivalent to 2.5 to 3K. So that's not really a 4 to 8. That's more like a 2.5 to 3 to 5K stone, combo stone. And that's the first reason. You know, Norton used to be a really good, reputable company way back when, from what I've read. But it seems like they're just money hungry now, from what I can tell. And while the stone is okay for what it is, and at the price point it is, like I said, I need to do some extra work on this side. I'm not sure what's happening on the undercut there is nice. The undercut here, okay, it's getting better. It's getting better. Just need to work this side more. But my point being, you know, I just can't say in good faith to get that Norton 4.8. Because first off, it's not really a 4.8. And second, I don't know. I just feel like you can go with Shaptons, you can go with the Glass series, you can go with the Pro series, you can go with the Nanawa Chaucera and Pro Stone series. Or Super series. And those would all be better, in my opinion, than that Norton. You can email me if you have questions, and I'm going to shoot straight. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think of everything. And I don't have any confirmation bias. I buy all of my stones. I'm not giving anything. Everything I tell you will be objective to what I find. Now, I don't go through a scientific method. I don't do any of that. It's just what I find, what I see, when I hone, you know, that type of thing. All right, so we're ending here. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to rinse off the blade. I'm going to rinse off the stone, and then I want to just do some laps on the stone with no swarf on it. So we'll just do basically some water laps. Okay. Do some quick water laps. Very light pressure here. I'm not torquing the blade down at all. Sorry for the hand in the way. I know that's a bit annoying. Oh, there's going to be some of you, probably most of you that I've already said this, have commented already and have left the video. But if you're still sticking around, yeah. When you hone, you really want to hone and flip the blade on its spine. Absolutely, 100% agree. I don't disagree with that statement at all. For me, it's more natural to flip it edge down. I pick my blade up off the stone. I flip it with at least half an inch or more distance, and I put it back down. I go through with my stroke. I pick it up. I flip it. Yeah, edge is down. It's never in any immediate danger of touching the stone, and I do this. Yeah, I can't argue that guys that say, "Hey, you're flipping the blade incorrectly." You're right. You're right. You know, and you're also supposed to use a blinker when you turn. Do you always use a blinker when you turn? I thought so. You don't, and that's actually against the law. You know, this is just shaving. So, all right, we're good there. We're good. I'm happy with that. Once you get to this, actually, once you get past a 1K, if you go from a 1 to a 3, you should be able to at least cut some hair from your arms or legs, nose, whatever you want to cut. But you should be able to shave, right? I don't really want to shave anything that's too visible. Let me see, what can I... You can see I have no patches down here at all. That's because I always shave down here. Like I always test here. Let's go here. Let's go here. I don't know if that's in view or not. Let's do this. Popping hairs. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up or not. Oh, sorry. I wasn't even in the view. Can you see that? I was at a bit of a weird angle too, but let me dry the blade off over here real quick. All right. So my stone will go down here. Actually, you know what? Let me go ahead and rinse it off. What I typically do is I'm in the guest bathroom, so what I'll do is I'll just rinse everything off as I'm going through the progression. And I'll put it in the tub to dry. That's what I typically do. So, all right. I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, but it is what it is. Okay, so you hear me talk about my Shobu all the time. Look at that. This is a natural stone. The marbling, everything is just so nice looking. It is sealed by Keith, meaning that it has cashew lacquer on the back. And this is kawa. This is a skin or scaling from the back of the stone. Very, very cool. So that's what we're going to go with. I need to close up my thing here. I need to check and make sure that you guys are still able to see what I'm doing. All right. Let me make sure that I'm in view. Okay. This is the Tomo Nagura here. This piece of tomo is actually a little bit harder than the Shobu. So what typically happens is I don't actually get too much. I get a little bit, but most of this the slurry that pops up is due to the actual Shobu itself. So we'll go ahead and start making a little bit of slurry. When you're making slurry, make sure that you also catch your edges, just to make sure. Every time I make slurry on this stone or my Ozuku, I always make sure that I'm running the tomo across the entire stone. I want to make sure that there's nothing funky going on. And then I also run it on the edges just to make sure that there's nothing there. And if there is, this tomo will knock that off. So, all right. Everything seemed okay, so now it's just time to make some slurry. I don't really make a whole bunch of slurry, to be honest. I make enough. It's hard to quantify that type of thing, unless I get a little jar and make the slurry and make sure I don't drop a small amount and then put it in the jar and weigh it, I guess. But other than that, man, I just make slurry. All right. Rinse off the tomo, set it aside. This specific tomo will last me forever. All right, so we have water on the stone. We have slurry on the stone. We're up to 8K on the edge. So let's see. And again, my finger's just going to go here just for a little bit so I can make sure that everything's kosher with the stone. Now my JNATs. It's hard to say which JNAT I like the best. For a while I was on the Ozuku kick whenever I got it, and then I picked up the Shobu, and I did nothing but use the Shobu for, I don't know, 5-6 months, which is the stone, and then about 2 months ago I started using the Ozuku again. It's just I go in phases, honestly, and there's no rhyme or reason to why I like a stone at a specific point, but this is getting a little annoying with this thing shifting. Give me 1 second. I keep paper under this tray, and whenever it starts to shift like that, I wet the paper, and typically that kind of settles it down. No rhyme or reason why I like a specific stone at one point over another, but I tend to gravitate towards certain ones at certain times. I really don't know why that is. The Shobu, it's kind of hard. I wouldn't say that it's extremely hard. My Ozuku is much harder. My Ozuku will eat this alive if I sit there and make slurry on it. That's not the case. It might, like I said, it pulls up a little bit of the tomo into the slurry, but for the majority, the slurry is very white-ish. I don't know if you saw that or not, and that's coming from the base stone. But my Ozuku, it will eat that tomo up if I allow it. It's basically the exact opposite ratio on the Ozuku. Like on the Shobu, the tomo may be 5%. The Shobu is going to be, 95%. It might be the exact opposite on my Ozuku. So now we're breaking down the slurry a little bit. The slurry, there's so much information out there and so many different schools of thought and You know, is this person right? Is this person right? I don't know. What I know is what I see, and what I know is what I feel on my face. That's all I can go off of, and I don't want to get into the mumbo jumbo of what everybody else. Oh, this is good because of this, and that's good because it's coming out of this mine or that mine, and you know, Nakayama himself quarried that. You know, that's stuff that I don't really try to get into. And one thing I really respect about Keith is that he's kind of the same way, where he doesn't really listen to the kind of feels. Oh, okay. He doesn't really listen to the group think. He more like he tests it himself. You know, hey, and if he finds something that doesn't work for him, he'll tell you it didn't work for him, but everybody else it seems to work for him. But for him, it's absolute crap. You know, and that's how I feel. That's how I feel about things too. You know, I like to figure things out myself. Unfortunately, when you're just starting out in wet shaving, and in particular in honing your straight razors, there's a lot of, I wouldn't say misinformation. It's more like bias over anything. More people trying to push a specific product because for them it worked the best, but you know, they're shaving like mouse whiskers off as opposed to like human hair, and for them, you know, that specific stone with that razor may work best shaving off the mouse hair, but on a human face that wouldn't work. So, and when I say mouse hair, I don't mean actual mouse hair. I mean like people that have very, very light whisker. They don't have like coarse beard hair, you know, facial hair. So, but I will say I've had the most compliments on my edges from the Shobu and from the Ozuku. Like I said, I also have synthetics I have in Arkansas. But for the most part, if I'm sending out an edge, it's going to be a synthetic unless you guys request something else. So, and the synthetics, the reason I do that is because if I sent you an edge from this, a buttery edge like I like, that's very comfortable, and it's kind of like a smart edge. That's not a real thing, but and I'm not the first one that even came up with that. I'm just repeating it, but it makes sense because the smart edge, whenever you're shaving, like the feeling is it knows when to cut hair and not to cut face. So that's why they call it a smart edge, and that typically comes from natural stones. And that's, I can tell you, that's very true. And so I don't know, it's just some quality that the natural stone imparts on the edge that just it cuts hair, but then if you know, it's not going to slice into your skin for whatever reason if you make a mistake. And synthetics don't care. Synthetic finisher, my 12K nano in there, if I put that up here and slap it, it won't give a rat's ass. If I put this to my face and I mess up, no, it's going to slice your face wide open. This, you know, it won't be so bad if you're slicing it wide open. It won't be nearly as bad. And if you're just making like a, I don't know, like a wrong twitch, it's not going to completely cut you. So, all right. So I'm getting a lot of, I don't know if you can notice or not, my hand's kind of jerking. And that's because, and I keep adding water, but that's because we're getting sticky now. So I'm not putting very much pressure at all. This is very light strokes. But I'm getting very sticky. And see, when it starts to do this, and this isn't, I'm not stopping it, right? Like, I'm not kidding. I could force it through, but I don't want to force it through. You know, it kind of stops. It sticks itself. So when we're at this point, I'm done. I don't need to do anything else to the edge. We're good right there. Now, some people will go a little further. What they'll do is they will throw it on the strop. They'll strop it for several laps, and they will come back, and they will, you know, do some more laps on the stone. Yeah, you could probably refine it a bit more to get a few more laps on the stone and to make the edge a bit more keen. Again, I'm not big on keen edges, you know. I'm not huge on the whole keen thing. I'm good with. You see the edge there sparkling. So that's important. You see how the edge, the bottom of the screen, and at the top of the razor, at the top. I'm sorry, the top of the razor, the bottom of the razor, how they kind of shine at the same. Let me see if I can get it back. See, right there. See how I'm doing that? That means that this is perfectly set. See how the light kind of goes together, top and bottom. So all that tells me is that my bevel angle is perfect all the way across, from the toe all the way back to the heel. Perfect. And that's what we want. And again, we do that at the 1 and 2 and 3K levels. So this is done. I'm not going to shave with it right now, but I will do a shave with it. Let's go with, let's just do a little bit of hand. Can you see that? Sorry, I might not be in the light. Let's, what can I shave? Let's just go right here on the wrist. Let's go right here on the wrist. So you see hair there? Let's just take that off, whatever. This is my my watch wrist, so maybe people won't notice. I don't know if you could see or not. Maybe if I get out the light. Yeah, so right there. Hair gone. So yeah, that's essentially it. I mean, this razor is 150% ready to go. No doubt whatsoever. All the way from the tip of the toe to the base of the heel. It's good. That's it. That's how I do my touch-ups, guys. So, thank you, Tuckmar, for letting me touch you up. And yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed. I look like a weirdo now because I have a huge patch of hair missing right there, but it is what it is. Hope you guys enjoyed. Man, look at that. That is such a nice stone. My Izuku doesn't look like this. My Izuku is actually damn near the same color of my lapping plate, honestly. It's a bit darker than my lapping plate. It has like a little blue hue to it. But yeah, it's also big like this. It's 3 inches wide and about an inch longer than this one, so it's a bit easier to hone on. But this, I don't know, man. I can't beat this. I don't think I could beat this. I think I like this more than my Izuku. And then a month from now, I'll say I like that better than this. But anyway. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. You've, hopefully, you've learned something. And comment down below if you have any questions. And I'll see you guys later.